All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to everyone joining me on this program. This is the Fighting of Israel's Bible Studies program, and as always, it's an honor for me to stand before you on the Lord's holy Sabbath day. Now, with that, we're going to enter ourselves into a new era, but let me just go and tell you right now, the title of this lesson is Show Thyself a Man. Show Thyself a Man. And I know we're in a day and age where there's a lot going on right now, okay? And yes, I'm gonna go ahead and put my big toe in the waters of, you know, the manosphere and intersexual dynamics, you know, things like that. And some people are gonna be all upset, right? They're gonna be upset because they're gonna be like, well, why are you talking about these type things? And that is just of the world and stuff like that. When it comes to relationships, that's biblical too. You know, we're going out, we live in a world, we work in the world, we serve the Most High, but we live in the world, work in the world, we try to find mates and things like that, you know, out in the world. Obviously, the ideal thing would be finding a sister who shares our faith, right? But we do know that you're going to get a sister either by one or two ways, from community or from conversion, okay? And so these type of things we have to know. We have to deal with it. But the good news for the ladies this time is that this particular lesson is focused mostly on the men. I will be talking like 90%, it'll be about the men, even though women will come up, obviously, because we're talking about these different dynamics and stuff. But we have to address the men. Really, we as men, right? We have to step up, be the men, and get into our role as men, right? So ladies, you can sit this one out. Again, when it comes to women, some of the women stuff will come up, okay? But 90% of this lesson, and it may be two lessons, okay? Because I have a lot of scripture I have to go over. It may be two lessons, okay? Show thyself a man. So it's going to be about men being men, biblical manhood, just being a man in general, right? I want to help the men in that. Now, I'm going to go hard at them, right? Got to go hard at the men, whatever, because we have to be that iron sharpens iron, right? And we'll get to that scripture as well. We have to help one another be righteous men. And there's going to be a weeding out process, right? I mean, in the world, they say, you know, there's some Pookies and Ray Rays and stuff like that, right? Well, we want to be different from that. We need a better class of Hebrew, right? So we need to be able to distinguish between one another. Is this a righteous brother? Is there a different look about him? Is there a different spirit about this person? That's what we need to understand. That this person there's a different aura on this person. Does he reflect the Most High? Is this a man of principle? Is this a man of honor? Is this a man of renown? Is this a man of valor? We have a lot of examples of that in the Bible. We have a lot of examples of that. So, men, we're going to get in here. I'm going to get in here. We're going to go over a lot of scriptures and everything. But I really got to speak to the men, the fellas. I really got to speak to the fellas. Because we're behind the 8 ball, gentlemen. And the reason I'm talking to it at a time such as this is because there is something happening between men and women today. There's something happening between men and women. The intersexual dynamics is just haywire right now. There's a schism between men and women. And again, I know that I'm not the only one seeing this. I can't be the only one seeing this. A lot of you guys, I'm sure you guys see this that's going on. Okay? There's a lot of let's see here. A lot of trepidation when dealing with these type of things. I mean, people are getting canceled, you know, mainly the men. The women are not getting canceled. They can say whatever they want about men, and men, they say something about women, you get canceled and stuff like that. But that's not for this particular lesson, okay? But there's a lot of things going on right now that is hurting and damaging our families. And it's been happening for the last 4 or 5 decades. And we're going to get into that. But let's talk about the men. Man, let me just tell you, before I get into the scriptures, some of you guys, I know where you're coming from. Raise your hand or put a 100 in the comments down below if you came from a single parent household. Maybe it was your mom. She had to do everything, and a single parent, or she maybe had a step parent. Or maybe you had a step parent or something like that, but never really had that two-parent household. Never had opportunity to see how a man takes care of a woman and how he runs his household, because mom ran the household. Right? Now, of course, there's always the other side. This one right now, in this lesson, I'm just dealing with men and the result of that. You start off in the mid-60s when it starts to happen. Most of the Generation X had to go through that, and the generations after that as well. It has worked. The destruction of the black family, which we know it was engineered, and it worked beautifully, because it worked. It worked. And so I'm talking to the men. I'm talking to you gentlemen out there who may have come from a single parent household. I kind of came from that. I wasn't with my dad the whole time. Kind of came from that a little bit. Then had a stepfather a little bit. Okay. So didn't have that. So over the years, I had to make composite fathers, right? I had to have either someone that maybe a coach or something at school or whatever. I had to have or if I had a best friend, I had to kind of look at his father or something like that, mainly TV fathers. Okay, you go way back in the 70s or whatever, you got James Evans, you go to the 80s, you got Bill Cosby, you go to the 90s, it's just different, you got Uncle Phil and all that. So you have all these different, composite fathers. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? 100 in the chat down below. Let me know I'm not, speaking into the wind. So I understand it's really, really hard for us. And then you try to go as best you can. Now, being part of this single family household, we're taught and we learn how to really sympathize with our mother's plight. And we all know it's two sides of every story. But mom, it's about mom. It's about mom. It's about her. She was there. She raised you, right? And so we began to over sympathize with it, right? You become blue pill. That's when you're swallowing the blue pill, because now you are starting to over sympathize, over empathize with your mother's plight. So you're never really able to come into your own. See, it takes a man to raise a man. It takes a man to harness your manhood. And you didn't get that. And of course, we grow up and we go to church, we go to the Sunday church, and men are leaving it in droves. You want to know why? Because the church emasculates men. So, brothers, you've been emasculated. Everything, remember how it's beaten in you, right? Everything is your fault, right? And so it emasculates you, and you have to put it on your shoulder, and it's beating you down. So, I understand. Not to mention, if you talk about the system and the family court is all against you, and it's just beating you down. And you are now the product of all this that has occurred so far. Now, I'm not making any excuses for any of the men, because that's not how we're built. We're not built on excuses. Not real men, not alpha men, not men of valor, not men of Yah. We're not really built on living on excuses. That's for the other guys. That's for the other guys. See, what we can't do is we can't say, well, my past was like this, so this is my lot in life. We can't say that. We can't afford to do that. We can't. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the scriptures real quick. And I want to show some things. It's going to be a little bit of a theme here. Now, there is four imperatives to becoming a man, a real man, to no longer be like these other buttermuffins, these Pookies and the Ray Rays. No longer don't be like them. Separate yourself from them. Never defend them. And if you're one of them, you need to convert into come into your manhood to be a leader. That's what our families need. We need that leadership. We need manhood. You don't need to be like those other guys that are out there, right? You don't need to be like them. Okay? That's one of the things that Sometimes the females they'll say, hey, you guys don't hold these other guys accountable. Yeah, we do. Yeah. We hold them accountable by telling other guys, don't be that. Okay, don't be a Pookie and a Ray Ray. Now we can't control Pookie and Ray Ray. All we can say is you just you ladies don't deal with them, and don't let the trauma that they put on you. Don't expect us to pay for it. Okay. Now back to the men. Don't be better than that. So here are the 4 imperatives. The first one just goes without saying, which is serve Yah, period. You're going to see that when we read through the scriptures, right? So I mainly stick to the 3 because the first goes without saying. The 3 imperatives of a man is increase your value, make something of yourself, become the best version of yourself, increase your value. You're going to see that in some of the scriptures that we read as well. Then the other imperative is pursue your purpose. Pursue your purpose. What are you here for? What is your God or Yah giving purpose? What is it that he wants you to do? Pursue your purpose. And last but not least is protect your seed. Because this is about heritage. This is about your lineage. This is about your bloodline. This is making your name mean something. So you're going to see those 3 things as we go through the scriptures. So one more time, it's going to be increase your value, pursue your purpose, and protect your seed. Now let's go ahead and get into some of these scriptures here. Now watch this. We're going to go on over to 1 Kings. 1 Kings chapter 2. And we're going to start at verse 2 because we're going to come back to 1 Kings. But I want to just show you something in verse 2. It says, this is David talking to his son Solomon. He said, I go the way of all the earth. Now, look at what he says to his son. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man, which is where I got the title of this particular lesson. Show thyself a man. I want us to be men. Okay? Be men. Right? So from there, we're going to go ahead and go to Job real quick. Go to Job. I'm going to go to Job 38 and 3. Job 38, verse 3. And it says what? He says, gird up now thy loins like a what? Like a man. Gird up your loins like a man. Right? And then, of course, he finishes with, for I will demand of thee and answer thou me. Okay? He said, I'm going to ask you some questions you're going to answer. But look at what he says. He said, gird up your loins like a man. Be a man. Be a man. I understand the past was probably tough and you probably didn't have the best, some of you didn't have the best example of manhood, of fatherhood, of being a husband. I understand you may not have gotten that. But now that you are aware or becoming aware, you have to do better. You have to step into your manhood. You have to get into your masculine frame because that's exactly what your family needs. Even if you don't have a family yet. Especially if you don't have a family yet. You got to get it together. We have to step into our manhood and we're going to look at this. Okay? 2 Timothy. Let's go to 2 Timothy. Okay, 2 Timothy chapter 1. And I'm just going to read verse 7. Okay, let's see. 2 Timothy. Okay, and he said, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. You need to step into your frame. Step into your frame. Remember, you got to be a man because as a man, you are not stepping into a woman's frame. She's stepping into your frame. So we have to have our stuff together. We have to have our stuff together. It's been said in the secular, a woman is born with her value and a man has to build his value. So we have to, what I said in the beginning, increase your value. You have to increase your value. That is getting on your grind, becoming the best version of yourself. So help you, Yah. Okay, now we're going to go right back to 1 Kings real quick. So we're going to read a little bit more context. I want you to see what David was talking about with Solomon. So we're gonna start back at verse 1. So we're gonna read the first 3. It says what? Now the days of David drew nigh that he should die, and he charged Solomon his son, saying, okay, so this is a father talking to his son. I want you to imagine that. Imagine a father talking to his son. Imagine your father talking to you, telling you words of wisdom. I want you to do that so you can step into your frame, step into your masculine, become a man of Yah. Okay, so verse 1, it says, now the days of David drew nigh that he should die, and he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man. What he says in 3, and keep the charge of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments and his testimonies, as it is written in the laws of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest. That you got to do something. And whithersoever thou turnest thyself, whatever you do, you're going to prosper. So what is the first thing I said in those 4 imperatives? Serve Yah. Serve the Most High. Serve him. Okay, then all those other things fall in line, right? So you're going to see that as a running theme throughout that. But remember those 3 imperatives. Okay? So we're going to go to 1 Corinthians. Okay, let's go back to the Brit Hadashah. See, we have to deal with these things because we live in this world and we need to know how to navigate in this world. So you're going to get some people to be thinking, oh, well, why he's talking about circular? Okay, you can't just be so heavenly minded that you know earthly good. You just can't. We can talk scriptures all day long, but we have to apply to what? This world and this reality. And this reality is that we have an issue between men and women. We have an issue today. So again, I'm talking to the men. The ones I don't have any sympathy for. I don't have any sympathy for lazy men. I have no sympathy for Pookies and Ray Rays. I have no sympathy for those who don't want to get up. I have no sympathy for that because we have to make something of ourselves. And those who actually want to make something, then yeah, I have encouragement for you. I have encouragement for those who actually want to increase their value, actually want to make something of themselves, actually to be of use to the Most High, to be of use to himself, to be of use to a wife should he take one, and be of use to his children, because that is where our value lies. It's men. We can't just sit around and just try to be pretty, right? We're not females. We can't just do that. We can't just, we have to make something of ourselves. 1 Corinthians 13. We can't just not do anything, right? We have to do something. So 1 Corinthians 13, I'm going to read verse 11, which it says, what he says, when I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. So we have to be accountable. We have to be accountable. Sometimes, and see, the funny thing is, you may have seen countless little videos about when a man get involved with the children and stuff. You saw the video where it was dads on duty. Look at YouTube, those videos, dads on duty, how violence went to 0 with the kids in the school and stuff like that. We're looking at these things. So we have to, it's important. The man is important. Look at the stats. Look at all the stats, the negative stats, the statistical disadvantages that children have when the men are not around. So we need men. We need men to step up and be men. And no, I'm not advocating a man, hey, go and take care of some other guy's, child. I'm not advocating that. If a man decides to do that, hey, that's on him. Y'all bless him. That's on him. But I'm not saying that. I'm just saying step up being men in the first place. Step up, be a man that will protect, that will provide, that will be a good parent. He says, so when I was, we're 13, 11. When I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. When I became a man, I put away childish things. Let's go to chapter 16. It's time for us to become men. It's time for us to be, it's been time. It's been time for us to become men. But we have to be strong men. Okay? We have to be strong men. And when you become a strong man, then after that, you don't accept anything short. You don't accept any type of, dishonor. You don't accept any type of disrespect. See, when you are in your frame, when you become a Yah-fearing, a man of wisdom, a man of honor, a man of valor, a man of wisdom, a man of strength, then you don't have to worry about being disrespected, because one, no young lady's going to disrespect you because she's not going to want to, because she sees those qualities in you. And then two, you're not going to put up with it. You're just not going to deal with it. See, you don't have to genuflect and capitulate to the whims of the other gender when you are in your frame, when you are who Yah tells you to be, who he designed you to be. When you put away childish things and you become a man. Stand and show yourself a man. Because we cannot defend somebody who's not willing to stand on his own. Even when he struggles, yes, a brother can help you up. But you got to be willing to try to stand. We have to as men, we have to deal with certain things and we have to push through. That's what we have to do. We have to push through. So we're going to go to 16, 1 Corinthians 16. We're going to read 13 and 14. Let's see what he says. He says, watch ye, stand fast in the faith, quit you like men, be strong. Like men, be strong. That's what you have to be. And in 14, let all things be done with charity, right? Or love. But he said, quit you like men, be strong. How are we going to comport ourselves as men? Be men. That's what we're called to do. That's what you're designed to do. We have to be men. Let's go to Micah 6. Micah 6. And then I'm just going to read one verse. Verse 8. He has showed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justice and to love mercy and to walk humbly with thy God. Is one of the first things I said. Okay, have to serve Yah. He's already showing us what he wants us to, what he wants us to be. He said, what is required? What is good? What is good is required of thee, but to do justly. Everything that I just said is about to do justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with thy God. We have to have there's a certain capacity. There's if we want to, I guess, in a phrase, become high value Hebrew or whatever, we have to understand there's certain things that are required of us that the Most High in the Bible that it requires of us. It requires of us to have conviction. It requires of us to have character. It requires of us to have capacity. And it requires of us to have compensation. Those are the four things that are required. This is what makes you a man. This is what makes you a high value Hebrew. This is what makes you a man of Yah. The conviction, remember, in the conviction, that's your center point of origin. That's you understanding whom is your source. That's you understand that the Most High is your source, is what you tap into, and it is your compass. It's how you navigate through this world because you're being kingdom minded. This is your conviction. Your capacity is to be what he says, to be just and have mercy. Have the capacity to do that. The capacity to have judgment. The capacity to have some compassion. The capacity to be affirmative. The capacity to be dangerous, as Jordan Peterson would say. Just the capacity, just control, because that is strength. The capacity to speak up when it's time to speak up. The capacity to be quiet when it's time to be quiet. You know where I'm going. Read Ecclesiastes. That's capacity. When it seems like the two things are diametrically opposed to one another, when not really, it's a time, everything, there's a season. You and I have to have the capacity. It's a time for peace, and it's a time to knuckle up. This is what it is to be a man, capacity. So I said the conviction, then I have the capacity, and then the character. What are some of the things that are in it? The character, type of character, you can go to Torah, character. And you're not going to mess with another man's wife. You're not going to steal from someone. Your character, your integrity. What do you do when no one's looking? Then, of course, lastly, your compensation. What do? We have to make a living. You have to make money. This is how you increase your value. This is how you become men of Yah. This is also how we distinguish ourselves from regular, no good Pookies and Ray Rays. That's how we distinguish ourselves from them. Because we have these four components that make us of use and of service to the Most High, to our own life, and to our families, to our community. Because it's also about networking too. It's also about networking one brother to another. Whether we live together or not, we can still network, build each other up. We can still do business together. That's part of your compensation as well. Your net worth depends on your network, as it were. See, one of the things we have to realize is that, gentlemen, I know it's hard. I know it is. But see, the thing is, we have to remember that for men, we have to show our work with a K. And women have to show their worth. TH. Men show their work. What do? How do you conduct yourself? How do you go about your day? How do you run your household? What do you do for a living? That type of thing. Are you of service to a group of other men? So we validate one another. Not a woman validating you. Other men. Iron sharpens iron. We're going to get into that. Let's get some more scriptures. Psalms. Let's go to the Psalms. Let's go to the Psalms. This is why it's probably going to be two lessons dealing with this. Psalm chapter 1, actually. Psalm chapter 1. Let's read this. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and his law does he meditate day and night. Okay, this is where we start. This is our source. The Most High is our source, the Mashiach. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Hallelujah. For the ungodly are not so, but are like the shaft which the wind driveth away. Therefore, the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. Brothers, I don't want you to end up like that. I want you to make yourself of service to the Most High. Make yourself of some use to the Most High. Let's continue. We're going to go to Proverbs, actually. We're going to go to Proverbs 22. Proverbs 22. Proverbs 22. It's time to really talk about things that affect us here and now. We can talk about prophecy. We can get all in all that. We can do that all day. You guys been on the channel for a while. But we got to things that are affecting us right now. Relationships are affecting us now. So we have to deal with these things. Proverbs 22, and we're going to read 29. Let's see here. It says what? Seest thou a man diligent in his business? Increase your value. He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men. Increase your value. Become the best version of yourself. Be men. Stand up. Be men. Show thyself a man. You have to increase your value. You have to improve. You have to improve. And no, I'm not talking about just worldly riches or anything like that. I'm talking about all four of those components. All four of those components. For some people say, oh, well, he's just doing this whole, Kevin Samuels thing. I said, no. He only talked about one component. He only talked about money, really. He talked about money. All right. And that has something to do with it. But that's not the only thing. That's not the only thing. So no, this is not a, prosperity. You guys know, I don't talk about prosperity, name it, claim it, all. No, you got to build something. You got to get it from the mud. You got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. You got to make something of yourself. If 40 hours a week is not getting it, you need to go to 50 hours. If that's not getting it, then you need to go to 60 hours. We got to get it. We got to get going because we have to build something. It's not the money. It's about what it's going to do. Think about it. It's not the money. It's the land that you're going to buy with the money. It's not the money. It's the house you're going to build with the money. It's not the money. It's the country that you're going to go to. It's not that. And last but not least, it's what are you going to leave? We'll get into that. Let's go. We'll get into that. Okay. So I'm going to go to verse 7. Same thing. Proverbs 22, verse 7. It says this, what? The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. Fellas, it's time to get out of debt. Let's control our finances. Notice that I'm just talking to the guys. You see that? You notice I'm talking to the guys. If you're in debt, you got to pay it off. Let's get something. Let's get it done. It's slowing you down. It's weighing you down. We've got to get it done. We got work on that. Get a plan. Work on that. Get with each other. Network with one another. Sometimes the debt just be as simple as you might have to get a side hustle or something and start paying off the debt. Start paying it off, paying it off, paying it off. We have got to make something of ourselves. We have got to do something. You have to build. No excuse. Network with one another. Have accountability partners. Iron sharpens iron, right? We'll get to that. Okay? The rich ruler over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. Get out of debt. We're reading scriptures, right? So, Proverbs 16. Let's go to 16. Proverbs 16. 16 and 9. It says what? A man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps. So you want to figure out, in this case, your heart, your mind. You figure out what it is you want to do. But the Most High will guide your steps. You can do what you want to do, but let him guide your steps. Let him be a part of that plan, right? So if it's something he wants you to do, it's going to work. If it's something he doesn't want you to do, it's not going to work. So, but he has no problem with you making something of yourself because he wants you to be something. He wants you to gird up your loins and stand like a man. He wants you to show yourself a man. Again, you take this lesson and hear the words come off the page as if a father is talking to you. Maybe the father you didn't have. We need to create men here. Okay, so let's keep this going. We're going to go to Psalms 119. Psalm 119. We're going to read 9 through 16. It says, wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? So how is he going to do this? Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. With my whole heart have I sought thee. O let me not wander from thy commandments. Thy word have I hid in mine heart, that I might not sin against thee. Blessed art thou, O Lord. Teach me thy statutes. With my lips have I declared all the judgments of thy mouth. I have rejoiced in the way of thy testimonies as much as in all riches. I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways. I will delight myself in thy statutes. I will not forget thy word. Now, we both know that David and Solomon were they were very successful in what they were trying to accomplish. David was very successful in winning winning the throne and defeating a lot of Israel's enemies. We know that Solomon was very successful in building the temple unto the Most High, because they put the Most High first. Remember, I said way in the beginning, I said it goes without saying, but serve the Most High. Law, statutes, commandments, and all that, serve the Most High. And then whatever else you're trying to do, then it'll prosper. Then it'll work. We just read that. Then it'll work. Okay? So we just need to keep that in mind. So we're going to keep going. We're in Psalm 119. We're going to go to Lamentations. Let's go to Lamentations. Lamentations chapter 3, and we're going to read 2 verses out of there. First one will be 27. And 27 says this: Is it good for a man that he bear the yoke of his youth? Right? When I was a child, I thought you guys remember, right? Okay, is it good for a man? Now we're going to jump down to 36. It says, to subvert a man in his cause, pursue your purpose. The Lord approveth not. So don't to veer a man off his cause, off his purpose. And fellas, if you are not ready, now tell me if somebody can understand this. If you're not ready, if you're not a man, okay? If you're not ready, you had goals, you know what you want to do, or in the secular they say you have your 5-year plan or your 10-year plan or something like that, and you're not ready, and then you go dealing with a female, or you take a wife. Can that not derail you? Can that knock you completely off course? Because you were not ready. Because you were not ready to take a wife. You were not ready to start that family. So sometimes you knock yourself off your course. You get derailed. Right? You knock yourself off your course. That's on you because you were not ready. You didn't have to ask her, right? You asked her, hey, I want you to be my wife. Right? You asked her, you start dealing with her, and now you made her your wife, and everything gets derailed. That's you. That's on you. That's on you. So you have to grow into being a man. You have to come into your manhood. You have to be a man of Yah. You have to get into it. You got to get ready. That's why when you're young, if I have anyone is young, they're in their 20s. Say you're in your 20s. I understand, young men, that we have, testosterone. I get it. I get it. And if you cannot contain, you go ahead and get married. But if you can, you become a man first. You work. You increase your value. You come into your own frame. You go prepare. The Mashiach said, I go to prepare a place and then come back. So you go prepare. You go build yourself. Build up your assets. Build up your wealth. Build up your character. Build up your conviction. Go out there in the world and suffer the slings and arrows of the world and all that, right? And come back stronger. Come back a strong man. And then now when you take a wife, you're ready. You have strength. You have knowledge. You have wisdom. You've been out in the world. Now you can build a family. You can pick wisely. You can pick a wife wisely. Someone who is truly a helpmeet for you, and then you're able to build a family. A lot of this, it begins with us. It begins with who we pick. Yeah, I understand. Oh, are there some wicked women out there? Yes, yeah, it sure is. But a lot of that has to do with our inability as men to select that. One, we're not ready. We're not all the way matured. We're not ready. Because we haven't figured out enough stuff in ourselves yet. So we're the first buttermuffins that we have to deal with. We got to start with us. We have to get ready. We have to be men. We have to grow up. We have to mature and be ready. Then when you stand on your own too, you do not have to settle for anything less than the right woman for you. You don't have to just take anything. You don't have to just talk to anything. You don't have to just marry anything. You don't have to do that. Because you're of low self-esteem and you feel like this is all you can get. You feel like, well, you're lucky she's even paying attention to you. No. You don't have to do that. Let's keep going. Do not get off your course. Don't get off your course. We were in Lamentations and we read 36. To subvert a man in his cause, knock him off course. The Most High doesn't approve of that. Let's keep going. Ecclesiastes. I must have wrote that wrong. Let's see. Ecclesiastes. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Wrote something wrong in my notes. Let me take a look at it real quick, guys. Ecclesiastes 9, and let's see what verse. Okay, 10, 9 and 10. It says, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do something. Do it with thy might. Work hard. Do it. I don't care what it is. When I say work hard, I don't necessarily mean you got to be doing some hard laborious work or whatever. I'm not saying that. You can if you want to, but I'm not saying that. I don't care if you work on computers, if you're in IT. Okay, you're cybersecurity. I don't care. Just work hard. Do your thing. Okay, just do your thing. And so, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do it with thy might. For there is no work, no device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. Okay, so because this is it. Whatever you're gonna make something of yourself, we have to increase our value while we are here. We have to pursue our purpose. Whatever it is that you're gonna do it with all your might. Go hard. Whatever you have to do it. It's part of becoming a man. It's part of your training process. Find something, get good at it. Be the man at it. Get out of debt. Start your investments. Do that. You invested in real estate? Do that. You invested in stocks? Do that. You invested in crypto? Do that. Whatever it is you're going to do it. Increase your value. Do what you have to do. And you keep it pushing, and then you'll be walking in strength. Then you'll be walking with a certain aura about you, with a certain energy about you, because you know you're the man. You know you're walking in strength. You're walking in boldness. Let's continue. I think 1 Thessalonians, or let's see here, 4. I think it's first, but let me see. Be writing down these so fast. Writing down so fast sometimes I'll put the first or the second, but we're going to get it here. So I want, let's see, 4, 11, 12. Let's see here. Nope, it's second. Chapter 4. I'm going to look at 11. Let's see here. Okay. So, 1 Thessalonians 11 and 12, it says, and that ye study to be quiet and to do your own business and to work with your own hands as we commanded you. This is something, again, do your own business, work with your own hands. Okay. Imagine if a father's telling you this, right? This fatherly advice, right? That you may walk honestly towards them that are without, those who are not in this faith, and that they may have lack of nothing, okay? That you work to study to be quiet. Sometimes you got to move in silence sometimes. You don't have to announce to the world everything that you're doing. That you're working quiet. You say, you know what? You're investing in stuff, just stack that quietly. Don't tell anybody, don't say anything. Just stack that, just do your thing. You be you, do it. Do it, do it, do it. Let's continue, guys. 1 Timothy. 1 Timothy. When we go to 1 Timothy, we're going to go chapter 5. And I just want one verse. 8. But if any provide not for his own, your own household, and especially for those of his own house, he has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. So I don't want to hear this stuff by, it's not about money. It's not about, it has something to do with money. Yeah. You got to make some money. You got to live. You got to eat. You got to have a roof over your head. You got to have clothes on your back. Oh, yeah. We got to have some money. Yeah. It's about that. We definitely got to have some money. Guys, remember the imperatives. These are the imperatives of being a man. We're all Israelites. We're all Hebrews. Well, this is how you're gonna become a high value Hebrew. You do these imperatives. Let's continue. We're over here in 1 Timothy. We're gonna go to Galatians 6 and 9. You've got to do these imperatives. Galatians 6 verse 9 says this. And let us not weary in doing well, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. That's why I say it is hard. You got to be patient. Take us a long time to make something of ourselves. You look at the other statistics and look at what happened when a man starts to hit his financial stride. It's like after 35 years, after he's 35 years old. That's when he really starts to get into where he's making real money. After 35. That's why I was saying, the young men, focus on your work. Focus on building you. Focus on life experience. Figure out what it is that you want to be and what you want to do. Establishing your name. Whatever it is. Let's be men. Let's be men of Yah, men of renown, men of valor, men of courage, men of wisdom. Let's go to Proverbs 12. Proverbs 12. When we get to 12, I'm going to read one verse. 12, and then we're going to read verse 11. Okay? Proverbs 12, let me make sure I have the exact one I want. Yeah, 12, 11. 11 says this. He that tilleth his land shall be satisfied with bread. Meaning you work, you're going to eat. But he that followeth vain persons is void of understanding. If uses for nothing, vain is for nothing, hollow, meaningless, nothing. Okay. But if you till your land, you'll bread. If you work, you'll make some money. You'll be able to eat. All you have to do now is scale. Sometimes you have a job that you can't scale, then side hustle. You say, well, I work a 5 to 9. I got to do that. Okay, then what? You got to. You got to work a 9 to 5. Then what are you doing from 5 to 9? You see how tough it is to be a man. You see how rough it is to be a man. You see what we have to do. When we're willing to do that, because we have to. When you stretch yourself, I know it's hard. I know it's hard. I've done that. I've done blue collar. I've done white collar. I've done that. I know. I've done the 2 full-time jobs before. I've done that too. For a season, I 2 full-time jobs. Yes, 40 hours at each job a week. Yes, 80 hours in a week. You see how hard that is? And see, some of you guys, you do that and you don't really know your worth. And you don't know because you ended up picking the wrong type of woman who doesn't appreciate you busting your back. It's now you don't even know that you're worth something, that you're worth respect, that you're worth honor. Now, those who are not willing to work, I got nothing to say to them. They don't want to work. Those are not willing to do something and make something of themselves, I don't have nothing to say. I can't, I'm not going to defend them. I got nothing to say. You're not willing to do anything, I got nothing to say. He the Most High blesses the work of your hands, but if you ain't working, if you're not doing anything, do something. Let's keep going. Fellas, we have got to do better. We're still in Proverbs. I'm going to go to Proverbs 6. Let's go to Proverbs 6. We're going to read 6 and 8. Proverbs, actually 6 and 6. 6 and 6. Now watch this. Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which have no guide, no overseer, no ruler. Provided her meat in the summer and gathered her food in the harvest. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man. Yeah, it's yeah. You're gonna be if you're lazy, you're gonna come to ruin. If you're lazy, you're gonna come to ruin. I know the system is stacked against you. I know. I know. You still got to make something of yourself. Oh, I have this woman and she don't. I know. You still got to make something of yourself. RandomReed, I can't see my children. I know. You still have to make something of yourself. You still have to rise. You still have to get up. You still have to be a man and get up. I know it's hard. I know it's hard on guys, and I know it seems like, oh well, you're not being sympathetic or whatever. Look, the world doesn't care. The world does not care. The Most High cares. Hamashiach cares. The world does not care. We still have to do something for ourselves. See, what you have to do is you have to turn it on its head. See, the world will chew you up, get everything it can get out of you, get all the juice, everything that is within you, and spit you out to the grave like you've never existed. For it to mean something, it's going to be up to you and me. If you want your life to mean something, you have to make something of yourself. If you want your life to matter, you have to make something of yourself. You have to increase your value if you want your life to mean something. Nobody cares. The woman that got away, the one that used you and just left you and all that, the one, that cheated on you and all that, or she didn't see the value in you, or either you didn't have value or she didn't see the value. Which one is it going to be? Are you defined by that? Or are you going to make something of yourself? Are you going to fight back? Or are you going to build back better? Are you going to get better? Are you going to get in the gym so you can shape up a little bit? You're going to start eating better? Yeah, she left you, but you're going to eat better now? Are you going to start getting out of debt, climbing out of debt? Or are you going to start lifting yourself up out of that? What does the Most High want you to do? Does he want you to lay down and die because you have some unfortunate circumstances where they come to like relationships or something? Does he just want you to just lay down and die? Is it over? We have to stand and show ourselves men. Let me go ahead and let me give one more real quick, and then we'll close out. It'll definitely probably be a part 2 on this one. Proverbs, let's go to 27. I might get 2 more. Proverbs 27. 17. And this is where we start getting into networking and helping each other out. 27 and 17. And it's what I've already said. Iron sharpens iron. So a man sharpen the countenance of his friend. Men develop men. We sharpen each other. We make each other better. We're competitive by nature. We're goal oriented. You have that energy. It's like, you know what? My brother did this. Oh, okay, now I got to do it. My brother got his life. You feel that, it's that synergy when you're amongst other men. It's that synergy there. The cream will rise to the top. You and we need to have a network of men that holds us accountable. That's what it is. Man, iron sharpens iron. These are accountability partners. These are friends. These are partners. Or whatever. But it's there to make you better. It's there to make you and I better. Let's go to Daniel 10 and 9. We're going to go to Daniel 10 and 9 real quick. And then we'll close out and start another one here. Hold on. Okay. Daniel 10. Where are we? Daniel 10 and 19, actually. Daniel 10 and 19. 10 and verse 19 says, and said, O man greatly beloved, fear not, peace be unto thee, be strong ye, be strong. And when he had spoken unto me, I was strengthened and said, let my Lord speak, for thou hast strengthened me. Sometimes a man says something that resonates with you. I know how you feel. That when you were a little boy, if a man would have told you the things that you figured out years and years and years later, you'd have been all the better. But we cannot go back. We're not afforded that luxury. We cannot go back. We have to stand now. We have to do what we must do. So in the next part, we're going to get into, mate selection, things, protecting your seed. Same thing. It's going to be a part 2. We're going to be talking about protecting your seed. But we're going to get into this, brothers and sisters. So with that, as I said before, I end it with the same thing. It goes without saying, serve the Most High Yah and the Hamashiach. So the other 3, those 3 imperatives. Increase your value. Pursue your purpose. And protect your seed. Stand and show thyself a man. Till next time, I hope someone's been edified by this. And we'll see you on the next one. Shalom, Israel.